All right, good evening. The time is now 6:35. We're starting a couple minutes late. We had a lot of folks attend, which is great to see. And we wanted to make sure everyone was registered before we started the public hearing. I will now call the meeting to order, and I will now read the legal notice. Portland Board of Selectmen, legal notice of public hearing, June 18th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. Pursuant to section 12034 of the Portland Town Charter, a public hearing will be held by the Board of Selectmen on Wednesday, June 18th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. in the Buck Foreman Community Room to consider public comments and questions both orally and in writing on the below supplemental appropriation. Public access also through Zoom link www.portlandct.org. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Selectmen hereby approves the following supplemental appropriations in the below listed line items funded through an estimated increase to revenue in line item 01-000-000-00328, structural permits of $96,250. The impact to the accounts will be as follows: 01-025-000-11003, part-time payroll, $32,500. 01-014-000-37019, planning and development matters, $34,000. 01-014-000-37013, General Town Council for Services, $7,500. 01-034-000-38010, miscellaneous engineering, $17,750. 01-034-000-38007, general services, $4,500. The total is $96,250. A copy of the complete resolution to be voted on is available for public inspection in the town clerk's office and in the town website at www.portlandct.org, dated this 5th day of June 2025, and attested to by Michael A. Pelton, First Selectman of the town of Portland. I'll now open it up for public comment. I don't know if you guys would like me just to run through what each one of these is actually for, if that would be helpful. I'll give a quick summary. Regarding the part-time payroll, that increase to that line item is required. We had a building official who was out on a medical leave for a period of time. The increase to this budget is to cover the part-time payroll for the work that was done in his absence. Planning and development matters. In talking with that, there's obviously, as everyone can see, there's been a lot of activity in town. Part of that has to do with, has driven up some of the legal expenses. That's what this line item has to do with. This has to do with some general land use matters, some blight matters that were attended to, costs and legal costs associated with incremental projects. And there was also a lawsuit that the town has been navigating that basically has resulted in some additional cost. The next line item, General Town Council for Services, right? This is the General Town Council. This is, again, higher than average activity. So basically the costs have come in higher than we were budgeted. And part of that cost was, in fact, the fact that we went through the transition in town leadership and some of the items that had to be worked through during that transition. Miscellaneous expenses, miscellaneous engineering rather. This has to do, this incremental above the baseline has primarily driven by two factors. In large part, it has to do with the work that's being done at the riverfront access and basically the boat launch that is being constructed. There was work, engineering work that had to be accomplished, other requirements that the state had in terms of some of the reports and things that had to be done that we had to complete prior to us being able to access some of the funds, the grant funds themselves. So that line items up a little bit more. And there's also been some expenses associated with the work going on to do the expansion on the airline trail. And then the general services, probably the line item when I spoke with our finance director earlier today, for example, one of the line items that was not originally anticipated that impacted this had to do with getting the new scoreboards, up and running, and some work that had to be done in terms of some analysis and things of that nature. So, the bottom line, when you sum it all up, is that with all the activity, structural permit revenue line is up. What's being proposed is using $96,250 of that to offset and basically take and adjust those line items in this year's budget so that those budgets will actually closer to where they need to be to go through the remainder of the year. I'll open it up at this time for public comments or any questions. Okay, I'm not seeing any.
Oh, check on Zoom.
Yeah, anything on Zoom? Okay, seeing and hearing none, I will close this public hearing at 6:41. So, we're now going to go into the second public hearing of the night. It is now 6:41. I will call this meeting to order, and I'm going to read the legal notice. Portland Board of Selectmen, legal notice of public hearing, June 18, 2025 at 6:35 p.m. Pursuant to section 1203.4 of the Portland Town Charter, a public hearing will be held by the Board of Selectmen on Wednesday, June 18, 2025 at 6:35 p.m. in the Buck Foreman Community Room to consider public comments and questions, both orally and in writing, on the below supplemental appropriation. Public access also through Zoom link www.portlandct.org. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Selectmen hereby approves the supplemental appropriations from capital non-recurring fund balance in the amount of $200,000 and authorizes the funds to be added/increased in the following accounts. Account 08141-000-89090, Highway Division Vehicle Maintenance, replace pickups in the amount of $88,500. Account 08-141-000-89080, Police Department Equipped Cruiser Replacement in the amount of $61,500. Account 08-141-000-89040, Fire Department MSA SCBA Air Packs in the amount of $20,000. And account 08-141-000-89100, Resource Recovery Department purchase compactors, containers in the amount of $30,000. The total is $200,000. A copy of the complete resolution to be voted on is available for public inspection in the town clerk's office and on the town's website at www.portlandct.org, dated this 5th day of June 2025, attested to Michael A. Pelton, first selectman. Again, kind of a quick synopsis of what this has to do. Given the age of some of our vehicles, we had a very successful and have had some successful auctions of some of our existing equipment. That generated a couple $100,000 in revenue. And in speaking with again, our financial director, what's being proposed here is to use the revenue from the sale of that older equipment to buy some new equipment that is needed. This is equipment that was on and has been included in the long-range capital planning, but was not included in this year's budget as it was approved. So trying to basically accomplish a little bit more with this revenue that's available to basically do this as a supplemental appropriation on this year's budget that ends on June 30th. Specifically, the Highway Department, they're in need of a new F-350 pickup truck with a utility body. That's anticipated to be $88,500. The existing truck is functional and would become one of the spares. The Police Department is in need to replace vehicles and update their fleet, and additional cars in the town's fleet have gone past their useful life. Specifically, one of the things that has occurred since the budget was passed was the town actually ended up with a vehicle that was stolen. And the vehicle ended up, there was also another vehicle that, blew a head gasket. So they have had some vehicles on the fleet side, not on the police side, on the fleet side of things, that are no longer functional. By adding and allocating some of this money to buy another police vehicle, which we need, we've been adding officers and we have an older fleet anyway, for our police vehicles. This allows us to put our officers in a new vehicle and then reclaim the vehicles that would be, in this case, the one vehicle that would be made spare would then go back to fleet use. So it's going to cover two needs. The fire department, this is the air packs for $20,000. I think we need to keep this equipment current. And I know we had done an upgrade of some of this equipment a few years ago. This is some updated air packs for that, is my understanding. And then the resource recovery is the last 30,000 of this. Some of the folks at the transfer station, if you take a look at the large containers, the ones that we have there now, a couple of them are actually to the point where they are rotting, they're leaking, so they're just becoming less serviceable. Taking the opportunity to replace those with new ones. At this point, I will open up the floor for public comment or any additional questions. Okay. Anything on Zoom? All right, hearing and seeing none, I will close this public hearing at 6:46 p.m. Thank you. Well, yeah. Yeah, you can sit, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Good evening, everybody. I'm going to begin the first town meeting. It's 6:47 p.m. and I'm going to call the meeting to order. The first order of business is to elect a moderator. Are there any nominations?
I'll nominate Mike Hernandez.
A motion has been made and seconded. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, is there a motion to close nominations?
So moved.
I'm going to put John and Jim.
I'll second it then.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So moved. Is there a motion to nominate Mike Hernandez?
That was made and seconded.
Oh, yep. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So moved. Mr. Moderator.
Thank you, Mike.
Why don't you?
Oh, we gotta go up here.
You nominated, I think. Didn't you nominate? You nominated. I think, yes, I
All
know.
right, thank you, Mike.
I'll check with you.
No, no. That's how.
I would next like to read the call of the meeting into the record as published in the River East News Bulletin on Friday, June 6, 2025. I would also ask that the town clerk record the return of the notice along with the minutes of this meeting. Legal notice of special town meeting, June 18th, 2025 at 6:48 p.m. Portland, Connecticut. The electors and the persons eligible to vote in the town meetings of the town of Portland, Connecticut are hereby warned and notified that pursuant to Chapter 12, Section 1203.4 and Chapter 5, Section 503 of the town charter, and special town meeting will be held by the Board of Selectmen on Wednesday, June 18th, 2025 at 6:40 p.m. in the Buck Foreman Community Room, 265 Main Street, Portland, Connecticut, for the following. Now therefore be resolved that the Board of Selectmen hereby approves the following supplemental appropriations in the below listed line items funded through an estimated increase to revenue in line item 01-000-000-0328 structural permits of $96,250. 01-025-000-0-11-003 part-time payroll, $32,500. 01-014-000-37019 Planning and Development Matters, 34,000. 01-014-000-37013, General Town Council for Services, $7,500. 01-034-000-38010, Miscellaneous Engineering, $17,750. 01-034-000-38007, General Services, $4,500, with a grand total of $96,250. A copy of the complete resolution to be voted on is available for public inspection in the town clerk's office and on the town's website at www.portlandconnecticut.org, dated this 5th day of June 2025. Attest Michael A. Pelton, First Selectman. I would like to now entertain a motion to introduce the resolution entitled Supplemental Appropriation, Various General Funds Expenditure Line Items and Increases to Estimated Structural Permits, and to waive the reading of the resolution. Do I have any motions?
So moved.
Seconds? I will now call for public discussion on the resolution. Anyone in the public wish to speak? Online?
So this actually need, this meeting, because it's an in-person vote,
Oh,
yeah, there's.
so no online, okay. All right, being there no further discussion, I will entertain a motion to move to the question tonight.
So moved.
Second.
So this is the green ballot, so there's some pens up here. And then you can come up and just put it in the green box. Pens right there. There's some pens up here as well. So box them. You doing that? How you doing?
Numbers.
You, huh?
Don't get the
I know, you,
to keep
you
it,
set, you've nominated for the vote, right? After he
Yes.
asked for the call it a vote.
yes,
Yeah. And, John.
and John seconded. We kept it. Matter of fact,
That's good.
I'll call John and just tell him we'll keep that same cadence. I'll let John know. We'll keep that same cadence and make it easy.
So this is,
How we doing?
this is vote one, right?
Vote on green.
What's that? You don't like?
So that.
Maureen, it's still 40, right? So listen. Any other votes before we start counting? Okay.
Why did Mike have to make a motion to not reread it again? After he read the legal notice?
It's just a pro forma thing.
Oh.
It's a pro forma matter. You say to waive the reading because you just read it.
Okay,
All right, but if somebody objected to waiving the reading, they come to read it again.
yeah.
Good, it's great.
Yeah, good. People are interested, yes. You know, I was looking too in the, in the River East, I've been reading the other towns' budget woes. we came in. Well, we came in and we passed it the earliest. I think East Hampton's back to the drawing board. East Hampton's back to the field on both. Colchester passed theirs. They did? No, Colchester passed both. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I'm friends with the tax plan.
So the motion passes. The result of the vote was 27 yes, 13 no, no abstentions. Is there a motion to close this meeting?
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
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 The meeting is now adjourned at 6:55.
The time is now 6:56, and I will call the second town meeting to order. The first order of business for the second meeting is to elect a moderator. Are there any nominations?
I nominate Mike Hernandez.
Is there a second? Motion has been made and seconded. Are there any nominations? Hearing none, is there a motion to close nominations?
So moved.
All those in favor of closing nominations signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. So moved. Are there all in favor of electing Mike Hernandez as moderator signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. So moved.
All right, thank you, Mike. I would like now to call the meeting into the record as published in the River East News Bulletin on Friday, June 6th, 2025. I would also ask that the town clerk record the return of the notice along with the minutes of this meeting. Legal notice of special town meeting, June 18th, 2025 at 6:50 p.m. Portland, Connecticut. The electors of and those persons eligible to vote in the town meetings of the town of Portland, Connecticut are hereby warned and notified that pursuant of Chapter 12, Section 1203.4 and Chapter 5, Section 503 of the town charter, a special town meeting will be held by the Board of Selectmen on Wednesday, June 18th, 2025 at 6:50 p.m. in the Buck Foreman Community Room, 265 Main Street, Portland, Connecticut, for the following. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Selectmen hereby approves the supplemental appropriations for capital non-recurring fund balance in the amounts of $200,000 and authorize the funds to be added, increased in the following accounts. 08-141-000-89090 Highway Division Vehicle Maintenance Replace Pickups, $88,500. 08-141-000-89080 Police Department Equipped Cruiser Replacement, $61,500. 08-141-000-89040 Fire Department MSA SCBA Air Packs, $20,000. 08-141-000-89100 Resource Recovery Department Purchase Compactors and Containers, $30,000 for a grand total of $200,000. A copy of the complete resolution to be voted on is available for public inspection in the town clerk's office and on the town's website at www.portlandconnecticut.org, dated this 5th day of June 25th. Attest Michael A. Pelton, First Selectman. I would now like to entertain a motion to introduce the resolution entitled Authorization to Use Capital Non-Recurring Fund Balance to Purchase Highway Pickup Truck, Police Equipped Cruisers, Fire MSA SCBA Air Packs, and Resource Recovery Containers, and to waive the reading of the resolution. We have the motion. Second.
I'll second it.
I will now call for public discussion on this resolution. Being no public discussion, I will entertain a motion to move to the question tonight.
So move.
Second.
Okay. So this is the purple.
Jim, did you, make the motion for the vote?
Yes.
Hey, how are you? Did you make the motion for the vote, or was that John? The what? The.
Yeah.
John,
John did that one.
okay.
He's messing with you.
Yeah, I know.
You give him a hard time later. I hear you guys had a good meeting last night.
Okay. Fine.
Hey, Scott, how are you doing?
Are there any other ballots that you're looking to cast?
You think we're gonna hear from the school?
They made a recommendation last night. They did. The recommendation last night, from my understanding. I don't have all the details. But you watch them should be. But before we go down, she's right here. Those.
What you just said before, the Sunday school. Proposal that we're going back in November, says, I don't think we can do that.
Well, you can't, you gotta guys tweak it a little bit, you can go back and run it. Shows them what do you think they'll say to that?
No, it's the opposite, like, they're doing
The other thing is some we can notch.
Oh, no, just the number.
Definitely, shouldn't do nothing.
You can't.
But first thing was that the cheaper proposals was single school.
40, still 40? Nobody else? Still 40? 40?
All right, motion passes. The result of the vote was 23 yes, 17 no, 0 abstentions. Is there a motion to close this meeting?
So moved.
Second? Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is now adjourned at
7:04.
7:04.
What were the notes?
Thank you, guys. Meeting's over.
Thank you, everybody.
17,
17 to 40.